Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video I'm going to be running through my current TBR. As you can see, this is on the arm of my chair. It's quite tall, but I'm not going to be overwhelmed by it. I'm just going to enjoy talking you through all the books that I've got. So I'm going to run you through the physical TBR that I've got here, but then also random fact about myself. I've got a twin sister who also loves to read, so we share the books that we buy, so some are at hers, so I'll read off my phone list as well for the ones that are at hers too. So yeah, I'm just going to start as I mean to go on. I went into Waterstones the other week and saw these really nice editions of the Hunger Games, and I have read the Hunger Games before years ago. Anyone who's on my Instagram or TikTok will know that I have the unpopular opinion that I think that Katniss should have ended up with Gale. Yes, I've been told how wrong I am, don't worry. I'm gonna reread them this year and see whether or not my opinion changes. But years ago when I read the Hunger Games, I didn't have enough. As you can see, I've got a beautiful shelf space now, but I didn't have a big shelf space for all my books, so I had to decide which books to get rid of. And unfortunately, because I wasn't a massive fan of the Hunger Games back then and I didn't like the covers, they did get given away, as did the black versions of Twilight. But fear not, I kept the white with the red sprayed edge special edition of the Twilight books. They're still on my shelf somewhere. So yeah, first book is the Hunger Games. I'm looking forward to reading this. They look quite small as well, so we always love a little small book to get through. The second book is The Prison Healer. I had this on my Secret Santa list at work, and my Secret Santa didn't just buy me one, they bought me all three, so I actually do have all three on my list. But I've heard good things about this, so I am looking forward to reading that as well. And then this book is the Half-Blood series. I think it's called the Covenant series by Jennifer Armentrout. I read this book maybe when I was at uni, so about 6 years ago, and there's like I think 6 or maybe 7 or 8 books in the series, but they are so good. Over Christmas I read the White Hot Kiss trilogy and ate them up. They're like, it's quite YA, so it felt quite young, but just such an easy read and like really addictive. And then after reading that I was like, oh, like, because it was giving the same kind of vibes as this. There's a bit of a love triangle in this. It's about, they're called half-bloods because they're like descendants from, like, they've got kind of like godlike powers, like the descendants of the gods or whatever. So if you've not read this series is honestly so addictive. It's so easy to get through as well. We love Jennifer Armentrout. I would read her books every day of the week. Gild, again, I've seen lots of good reviews about this. Sad and boring fact was that I went to Paris in December and went into a bookshop because it's got to be done, and this was, it says on the back, €16.50. I didn't realise until I got to the till, and I was so sad. I paid £15 for this paperback. Part of my soul died, but if it's a good book then it was worth the £15. And as I said, I am a massive Jennifer Armentrout girly, so this one was purchased after I'd finished the White Hot Kiss series. It's called The Fall of Wrath and Ruin. She lives by her intuition, he feeds on her pleasure. Doesn't that just make you want to read the book? So I'm going to read this as well. I think this is a new series. I think the hardback of this might be blue, so this has been out for a little while but I've not got around to it yet, but excited to read this as well. And then with any fantasy series, after a fantasy, I am a hard advocate for a palette cleanser, so this is my palette cleanser number 1. I've only really got one palette cleanser, but I always just buy them in between. But so this is the first in the Elsie Silver Chestnut Spring series. I won't lie, I have read book 2 already. I picked up Heartless, that's book 2, at work, not really realising that it was book 2, but I never thought I'd be into the single dad trope until I met Kate Eaton, who is obviously the MMC in Heartless, so book 2 of this series. And he's changed everything for me. Like, that book has changed everything for me. I loved it so much. I ate it up. I am such a girl, but I don't even care, so hopefully this is as good. And then the Silmarillion. I am a massive Lord of the Rings fan. I to be fair, I won't lie, I like the films more than like the books. They're a bit hard to get through, but I have read them all. But I just love Lord of the Rings so much. I'm really in my Lord of the Rings era at the moment. And I had this on my like goals to read last year, but unfortunately I didn't get around to it. Other books got in the way, and that's fine. So this year I plan on reading the Silmarillion. I'm really excited. I think I'll read it in chapters. I think the Silmarillion is like short stories like in the like Tolkien world. So I'm gonna like read kind of like one story at a time, so there's nothing else to say. And this is also on my TBR. It's called The Bear and the Nightingale. My sister's read the trilogy already and she recommended it. She said it was really good. So it's based on like Russian folklore. So I like a lot of books that have like mythology or like are kind of based around folklore anyway. So I thought this would be quite a good read. I just thought it would be something a little bit different. You don't get Russian folklore books that often these days. So yeah, really excited to read it. Next is the Foxglove King. This is a gothic dark romance which I'm really excited to read. Last year I read One Dark Window, like that duology, and I really enjoyed like the gothic romance, and I read Phantasma as well, so I thought that this would sounds like a treat. It almost sounds like, based on the blurb, a mix between Poison Study, which is a really good series if you haven't read it, and so Poison Study like meets Phantasma. It says there's forbidden romance in it. What else do I need in a book? Story of the Day by Bridget Kremer. This is the third in the Defy the Night trilogy. Bridget Kremer wrote a really good series actually called A Curse So Dark and Lonely, which is it's very similar to A Court of Thorns and Roses, but also kind of different. So if you haven't read that one, you should read that trilogy too. But this trilogy is really good, and I'll probably have to reread the whole trilogy because I read them a few years ago. But it's kind of, there's angst, there's like a tyrant king, like the smaller minority wants to rebel against you know, the people in power, so really good. And possibly my favourite on the shelf, just because I ate the first two up last year, is Skyshade. So I know that this book has been out for a little while now. It's been sat on my shelf for a while now as well. I just got distracted, but I can't wait to read this. I read Nightbane in a day. I was able to just demolish it. When Nightbane ended, I was literally internally screaming. I was like dying for the next book to come out. So to prepare myself for this book, I think I'm going to reread Lightlark and Nightbane. So I'm actually going to start rereading Lightlark as my next book, because I recently finished reading the second in the City of Bones. So really excited to read this. I will do a review once I have. And also look at how juicy my nails look next to the blue of the book. This is such a good combination. Lastly of my physical books is Throne of Secrets by Carrie Maniscalco. This book is set in the world of Kingdom of the Wicked, which is a really good trilogy, so I definitely recommend it. You don't have to read that trilogy before these books, but I think it does give context. But so this is the second book. So there's like Princes of Sin and the like Seven Circles of Hell and like this series. So Throne of the Fallen is first. It follows one Prince of Sin. This follows the next Prince of Sin. So I absolutely ate up Throne of the Fallen, which is the first one. I even have a tattoo from the book. It's in Latin. It says, you can't see it, but Books Before Man. That's from Throne of the Fallen, because I'm nothing if not obsessed book girly, so of course I had to get that tattooed on me. So anyway, that book was really good, Throne of the Fallen. That follows Envy, and then this follows Gluttony, I think. So I am excited to read this. So that's the last of my physical books, and then I've got a few books that I haven't. So they're all my physical books that I've got, and then some of the books that are on my list that are currently residing at my sister's are Heart of the World. That's book 2 in a duology. The first one's called The Isle of the Gods. It's like focused on 3 people from like different parts of society, and they have to travel to an island to basically save the world. So book 2 I'm really excited to read because I really enjoyed book 1. Also Throne of Glass, I want to reread that because I want to do a tandem read this year of Empire of Storms and Tower of Yawn, as I like to say it. Hate me if you want, but that book's boring. So yeah, I want to read Throne of Glass as well. All is the Light, I can't quite remember what it's about, but me and my sister went into Waterstones the other day and I picked up the limited editions of the Hunger Games, and she picked up this book and it sounded amazing, so I'm excited to read that as well. Then Beneath the Cursed Stars, is a book by Lexi Ryan. I've got the book with me, so I can't quite remember, but she did a duology a few years ago called These Hollowed Vows, and it was about these girls who end up going into like a fae realm and they have to like navigate that, and that was really cool. So it's set in the same world, but the first duology follows one sister and this duology follows the next sister, so I'm excited to read that. I forgot, so I've just grabbed it down from my shelf at the top. I went to Asda the other day for some food and got distracted on the book aisle and picked up the paperback of Crescent City. I wanted this paperback for ages. When me and my sister split our books, when she moved out, she got the hardback of Crescent City, so I really wanted this anyway, so I picked this up from Asda. So I think I was just picking it up to add it to my shelf, but I think I might have to do a reread of Crescent City. I was underwhelmed by book 3, like House of Shadow and Flame, whatever, but now there's been a bit of time in between. There's no hype around it. Now I'm thinking I might enjoy it a bit more, so a reread of Crescent City is definitely pending. So yeah, those are my books that are currently on my TBR. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments what books are currently on your TBR, and if you've read any of the books that I shared with you today. Yeah, I'll see you in the next video.